December 30th, 2013. We're looking at Earth-facing images from the SDO, guys. It's some of the most beautiful images you'll ever see in your life of the sun, God's heater of our inner solar system. Notice that deep purple V in the middle. That's heat. That's a coronal hole. But guys, of course, the whole sun is hot. But in these darker filaments, in these bands that you see leaping in the browns and purples, there's a lot of energy stored there. And when they reach over and touch one of these sunspots, you're going to see a filament rise and a CME, a coronal mass ejection with that. And each one of these areas on the sun are linked out into space. And as the sun turns, these magnetic lines will link. They will link to planets like Earth and Mars and everything that's out there. And you can see that. And as it turns in a certain area, say a sunspot area, will reach out and the magnetic lines touch, say, Earth, then it becomes more susceptible. In other words, it's almost a line of transference. And satellites have documented this, that even though you see some of these lines that come out the edge of the sun, loop back in, you see others, say on the far left, that continue going out. Look at this diagram. Some do not loop back in. They come out, and they are linked to Mars, Earth, the moon, different things like that, comets like ISUN. But listen, it says that strong radiation storms are possible in the days ahead. However, a potent sunspot, AR 1934, rotates towards the western limb, a place with strong magnetic connection to Earth. That's what they're talking about. Look on the right. These magnetic lines that we see on the flare tracker, guys, that's what they're talking about here. Now, 34 is going out to the right, but it is triple configurated now, which means we could get X flares. That's not so bad. It's going off to the right of the sun. But here in the center, and we were watching for this earlier, now we have both of these sunspots that have all three magnetic configurations to create X flares. You see this beta gamma delta from 1934. 1936, which is just off center of Earth facing, is also beta gamma delta. That's the classification you need for X flares, and they're very active. And guys, think about it in this way, about being prepared. And this is not for fear. This is just for preparedness. Is one day you're going to see a report like this. You're going to see a solar update. And you can pause and read any of this. You'll see here that we're talking about solar activity is low. But we're going to be looking at solar storms from this approaching heat from that coronal hole. You're going to be looking at in auroras, things like that. But one of these days, if you're not ready, you're going to get a report like this, and it's going to be the last one you get while you have electricity. Because there's going to be an MP or a Carrington event like we saw back in the 1900s. But these are the magnetic lines of force, guys. Check this out. You see, even to ISUN as it's passing, Earth in the yellow dot, and the pink dot right above Earth is the MAVEN satellite. If we could tap into those images, guys, or if they would release them as the ISUN passes it, imagine what we would be seeing. Now listen, check this out. January the 2nd, just before midnight, that looks like about 10 p.m., you're going to see a sudden rise in plasma density, and at the bottom, the radial velocity is solar wind speed. You can see that. It's going to rise from 400 up to around 650, 675. What that does is put a little extra pressure, a little extra heat on the Earth. We've got volcanoes and earthquakes now. Also, with the tilt of the Earth, you're going to see more extreme weather. Now, I want to go to some TEPCO updates. They're talking about the steam release out of Unit 3. 5th floor near the center, steam is generated. Now, each time they end this with they have not identified it or it's not abnormal. But the steam is being released, and many experts are saying there's a fuel meltdown. And at the bottom, in Utah, we're getting these bald eagles that are dying. Check this out. Wildlife experts high alert on bald eagles are found suffering from a mysterious illness. This is the radiation. On top of this, the USS Ronald Reagan, the sailors that went there to help rescue these people, thyroid cancer, leukemia, brain tumors, bleeding, blindness after the Fukushima disaster, young kids developing problems, government and TEPCO involved in major conspiracy. The servicemen and women are young people, 21, 22, 23 years of age. No one in their family had ever had any of these kinds of illnesses. Guys, there's also reports, and this is what I wanted to talk about on the show today. We had a down that went through because of Skype. Everything dropped, and I immediately got in touch with Blog Talk, and they explained they were getting multiple calls because of that problem. And one of the things that was amazing about that is I got in touch with one of the top guys at Blog Talk, and he really encouraged us to keep trying because he was one of the fans, and him and his wife were fans of the BP Earthwatch show. They enjoyed watching the videos, and so they were really encouraging, and they're going to help me work out all the problems. So sometimes if you just keep trying, God will open a door. But guys, what's alarming to me is that some close friends of mine on YouTube that I've shared videos with and things, I was attacked because of the Fukushima report last night. That's very strange. And as I'm doing these reports and we're getting deeper into the Bible study, then and one of the things about this Bible study, guys, is that we're talking about the end time locust army and the attack of the demon spirits. And I'm very concerned that we're starting to see this because a couple of these guys that have came and attacked me, and I'm not going to bring up their names. I've got more pride than that. I wish they did. But not only attack the video, but attack Christians. So I think it came more from the Christian videos than it was the radiation. But again, why would anybody come and downplay saying these reports were false? There's several links. You can just go in and type steam leaking from number 3 anywhere in Google and look at as many reports as you want to about this. But there's a warning here, and there's a message. You never know who you can trust as far as friends that you think you have. And guys, in these end times, you're going to see some changes. And especially if you try to bring forth the truth of the Bible or the truth of the science of what's happening in this world or in space, it's just suddenly people that you thought that they had good sense or they were good observers suddenly have everybody looking down at things that maybe or maybe do not exist. While the bigger issues are piling up, doesn't it kind of make you wonder why they would attack a message like that? But guys, it's a heads up. We're working on the problems of the show. Join us tomorrow. We're going to have another YouTube video in the morning. Heads up, be safe.